welcome to our show. This is the Day 1 Assembly 30-year anniversary recap. Oh, there's a slight echo. I'm your host, Sir Garbage Truck. With me are Rulohis, whose name stumps me. I have the worst trouble pronouncing it, and Beata, who I have less trouble pronouncing. And we're going to discuss all the things that happened today, which, well, we just saw the game dev compo. We could start with that and then work backwards through the day. Royce, this was you managed this compo, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. There are a few fewer productions than I expected, really. Normally we have about 10 or 12.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of less entries this year, but still a couple of nice ones, I think.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if the reason why we had fewer is because since we didn't have live things in the past 2 years, that maybe some of the folks that would have made a game didn't have that feedback. So I'm wondering if we're going to see a lot more of them next year. That's just something in my head.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
I also think that usually, at least with demos and 4K and things like that, on the compos, if you have very slow year, the next year will be like bigger. So that might happen here as well, as you suggested. But also I think the COVID has there's so much going on right now. So
yeah,
kind of, and we are used to be home and living a little bit more quiet, so it's weird.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I've noticed, that that we, this feels normal, but it feels normal in an odd way. We've been away for a while. This is something that we do every year, and it is part of our lives. But it was taken away for a while, so we kind of got used to it not being there, and now it's here again, and it feels right, but it also feels odd, and it's good to see everyone again. This is a very, very good thing, but it also just seems like a bit like it isn't dreamlike, but it's just unusual. Do you get that also?
I totally agree. Yeah, I think when we met yesterday, it was like, oh, haven't seen for 2 years. No, it's actually 2 years plus COVID, so 4 years. Something like that happens to me all the time. So
yeah. It feels nice though, but a little bit odd.
No, so the game dev entries, we had 4 of them. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to remember the names right now.
Yeah, the first one was the awesome Animal Candy Factory, with this kind of Tetris clone with a little cute twist with the gummy bears.
Yes, I when I first saw it, I only saw the Tetris thing, and I was wondering how they were going to get away with that. With the Tetris Corporation gets very protective. But by them adding the gummy bears and the other animals as part of the puzzle, they probably are okay. That looked very interesting to me. I also thought it could have been a Super Nintendo game or a Game Boy Advance game or something like that. It could be ported to one of those relatively easily. I liked the concept of it. Don't know how it plays because I haven't played it yet. But yes.
But yeah, I think it plays well, and I think the execution is really well done on the game. Yeah.
Cool. What was the next one? There was a woman walking around, and I didn't fully understand the concept.
Yeah, the next one is the Clover, and it is an adventure game where you. Not gonna spoil it, but okay. You're on a mission, and it has a story, and
that's hard to convey in a short clip. You really can't do. I mean, if you're doing an adventure, it's a story, and fitting that into a short period of time, that's
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do
Yeah.
because you really need to take time and explore the environment before you understand it. And
so this is one that folks should definitely download and try out before they make any sort of judgment on it. The next one,
yeah, and the next one was the Wall Fairy, which was the rhythm-based platformer.
yeah.
And and I think that was probably one of the coolest original ideas on the combo, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a different type of platformer. At first, when I saw the intro, it didn't seem like a platformer. It seemed more adventure-like. But then, yeah, it popped into a platformer. I'm not sure I understood it completely either from the video. But I knew, platformer, and you're, I think, collecting things and busting through things. Did you play it at all, or?
Yeah, definitely, there's things to collect and a lot of levels, and basically you go through them and enemies and things to explore and stuff.
So there's a lot of content there that we didn't see in the video.
Yeah, at least as far as I get with the game, because it's quite hard.
Yeah. All right. Also, a difficult platformer is a good thing.
Yeah, and then the next one was the Massacre at High Castle, which was this kind of top-down, maybe a bit of Diablo-like game, but definitely with a little bit of twist. And you kind of have to possess other bodies to regain health, and then you change the character and stuff like that. And it's definitely one of the most polished games, I think, on the competition.
There were two things that struck me about it. First of all, the intro for it just reminded me a lot of the intro to the old DOS game Blood, although much better rendered, because the intro to Blood is it's an interesting rendering, very dated. But as I was watching the gameplay of this, it reminded me a bit of either Last Ninja or a turn-based type game. I think it could have easily been done as turn-based also, but it was an action game instead. And it's intriguing. I'm wondering if, as part of the development process, they originally planned to have it as a turn-based, or if that just is an artifact of how the game plays out in the video. I don't know. I do agree.
No idea.
It did look quite polished.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, all of them are available right now to download.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
where?
yeah, all are downloadable from Assembly website. I think all of them are in Windows platform, so you can play it easily on your machine.
If you happen to have PC.
If you happen, I would say most of our guests have a PC.
Yeah. But you have the Steam Deck up, and did you test these on the Steam Deck at all?
I didn't try those yet.
Okay, because that would be, for those of us that don't have Windows, that we probably have a Steam Deck.
Yeah, maybe with Proton it's possible.
Oh, exactly.
I don't know.
All right. But now, when you say the Assembly website, do you mean party.assembly.org?
Yeah.
Right. Not www. That goes to a different content site. The main site for the actual party is party.assembly.org. It is .org, right?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Exactly.
I got that. Be bad to get the wrong URL in there. All right. So before that, unless you have any more to talk about the game dev, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. I'm looking forward to actually testing the things. When do people need to be finished with voting? When does the voting for this end?
I think the deadline for voting is Sunday morning,
Okay.
9.
Is
Don't
it Sunday?
quote me on that one, but I think it was then.
All right. Check party.assembly.org to see when the voting ends for this one. Because it would be, you do get some time to test all of the games. but it's not infinite. So make sure you get your vote in before the deadline. So yes, before that we had a thing that we've been working on for a while.
Yeah, we certainly have, and some actually like longer than others. So we are talking about the Assembly 30 Years Awards, yeah. And that's actually something that I was asked for to help with. And my fellow Assembly organizer from like back on 2000 and something, very beginning of that, Tatu kind of had this idea that when we have actually 30 years Assembly, we should somehow lift up the competitions or the productions on the competitions from previous years and not just have the normal kind of party here, like only or solely. And I gathered jury, which you were part of.
I was, yes.
Yeah, and I'm actually extremely happy with the jury because we had like, well, let's put it this way: not only the 50-year-old male on the jury, which could have been like pretty easy to collect to. And we have like extremely, everyone there are extremely qualified, extremely like knowledgeable, and have such a like I think they have different kind of views. And different kind of like I'm looking for the variety or something like that in English. Words in English are hard, but yeah. So we have people who have like research kind of background, and people who are more like doing with business, and like all of them, or all of the jury members have a lot of the scene background as well. Like every one of them, but yeah.
Not to cut you off, but we should probably mention, that since you're mentioning the folks that have the industry background, that our friend who is representing the game dev, and she's going to shoot me for forgetting her name right now, but they're lights.
Sonia,
yes.
When I first met her on Assembly 2004 or something like that, she was here actually to tell about the game research she had done, and now she's more in the industry. So yeah.
Yeah, and but she was not. And again, just to reiterate what you were saying, it was more representative of what the scene is, which is all-inclusive. I mean, we had more than just, we had two ladies who were on the jury as well. We had
Satu and Florine.
Oh, three. We had three.
Florine is actually from French, and she's like
her nick is Flopine, for those of you that are
doctoral
thinking.
Dissertation research. So and other research we have is Markku, who actually is postdoc, and he did this demo scene related doctoral thingy. So yeah.
And well, Flopine is also well known for her work in shader showdowns and so forth.
Absolutely, that's probably what she is most known for.
Yes.
But
as we're saying, I mean, she's doing research as well. So we had a jury that comprised of people that have, all different walks, and then we we had Alexei Eben, who was the head of the jury for the audio things.
Yeah.
And he has a long history of doing music.
Yeah, in industry, like for the phones, and also for compose and just music generally, and playing, and yeah.
And then we had some old guy that was for some reason there. And we had Pehu and Abyss.
Yeah, we have few people who have also like made the main demos and things like that. So yeah.
I feel that I'm leaving somebody out.
Satu has done, or Mu
Yeah.
has like worked so much for the scene. I think she organized icons, for example.
Yes.
She's been organizing this whole.
This whole thing where we are
Yeah.
sitting in, she was in charge of 4 years ago
Yeah,
or
and
something.
probably she kind of started it, or
Yeah,
if I yeah.
she was very involved with the scene lounge.
Were you
at
at
that time.
Icon ever? That
Yes.
was a small.
I was
yeah.
at both of the econs parties, and
Yeah, smaller demo party,
No.
but very nice.
very good. And well, they were here in Helsinki, but yeah, they were good local parties. Not nearly as big as this, but we had quite a few good productions, and it was a good. A good get together for the scene the 2 years that it took place.
Yeah. And I'm very happy that we are talking about the jury now, because we actually, it was said on the screen, but we kind of had to, we didn't have Alexi or Florine on the stage.
Oh.
So I kind of felt a little bit bad that we didn't realize to say it out loud that
Yeah.
these people have really contributed, because all of you guys in the jury that did a lot of work, as you little bit referred already. We started 3-4 months ago with May,
Was
June,
it that long
June-
ago?
Like May, June.
Yeah, I guess that
July,
is 3 months
August.
ago.
It's yeah.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah, 3 months ago we started on this as the jury members. Alexi was the first one to present a selection for us to go through, and we all had long lists. Well,
The thing is, we have like 30 years, except game dev has something like 20, but anyway.
Oh.
And there are so many categories. For
Yeah.
example, like for music, there is. Oh, there's some noise here. There's fast music, there's dancing music, listening music, MP3, like so many. And for the restricted, there is like 4K and 1K and 64 and everything, and old school, because, and I know that could get some critic, but why we did it like that, the reason is that this whole event was like aimed for two different kind of audiences. Of course for Sheen, but and the people who make the productions, but also for the people who are at the assembly and might not really know what demo scene is about.
Yeah.
So for them, we really need to make it a little bit more simple. We couldn't have like 3 different music competitions and 3 like that kind of thing. It would have been 5 hours or 6 hours or something, and it wouldn't have worked. So
yeah, it wouldn't have had the impact that I mean, yes, all of us that in the show that we had before, I was asked, how long did it take me to prepare the list? And, I said several years of my life, because, well, it has, I mean, I've looked at demos for a long time, and I could call on that in making my lists. I went over it with Mew one day. We just went through the whole list, and then we summarized it a bit and checked it out, and we had to make some additions and some subtractions, because we also limited all of these productions were only allowed to be included if they were from Assembly. So
yeah.
we did limit some of the things that we were talking about, again, to Assembly, but combining certain categories, and we covered everything. That was another the points, is that
Yeah. I'm pretty proud that we actually covered everything, and
Yeah.
I think probably the hardest category was actually yours. That's why we had someone who has spent his whole life with this, and we also had like 2 people for that.
Yeah.
So this was category groundbreaking.
Yes.
And what would that mean?
Well, the main thing with that was that groundbreaking was anything that had impact, really, and might have, well, the English term would be breaking new ground, which is what it says on the tin, but it is really, okay, this had impact, this opened doors, things were changed as a result of this. And that could happen in any of the categories. Somebody could release a tune on the C64 that blew everything else out of the water. People had never heard anything like that. Or on an Atari, or somebody used a new technique in making music that just after a point when we went into MP3, we ended up with eventually it was like, oh, this is the metal area. Of course it is, because it's Finland, but of course now we can do metal. And there was a impetus of that. There was a groundbreaking bit there. So you could have that in music. Mm-hmm. You could have it in the graphics category. Somebody that just, did something absolutely astounding in graphics. And this is why Maxon's real-time demo wannabe was in that category. That changed how that competition went. Before that, you had some joke productions, and we had a long run for a number of years of Grand Theft Auto short films. And that happened at a load of different parties. And then Real-Time Demo Wannabe dropped, and that competition changed to people and teams making short films. And for a while here, we actually had a really different short film compo, and we had universities that, projects that were actually submitting things to Assembly, several different universities. So that's the type of groundbreaking thing from there. And of course, demos and intros, there are always going to be groundbreaking things there. So our category basically was
everything. Yeah, and in this respect, it's very easy to understand why the list was so long.
Yeah.
And the jury worked together, and you started with extremely long lists. Or you started with everything, actually. Then you put it on the very long lists, and then you continued with the pointing system. And
we had two different pointing systems. I used a different one than other folks. Most folks used give a number of points to each one. I went with you have 25 points to give to everything, because the problem when there were so many and so many different things in ours that if we would have added up all those totals, we would have had some things that had 500 votes, and that's not representative. We couldn't have judged that way. So instead we went with, okay, which ones had the most impact for you, and then folks put down what they were. And then I took all of the things that were 10 votes or less, 10 votes or more. 10 votes or less would have been interesting. And that's how I whittled it down to 16. And then again, I didn't want to, those 16 for me were, okay, everyone has parts of those, and we need to have these somehow represented in the competitions.
And we actually had a little conversation where I was like, no, we can't have 16, and he's telling me that we will have 16. But there was very easy solution, actually, because for reason or another, most of these productions were on the other categories actually already included. So we went through the other categories first with the jury and ended with this one, which was obviously the hardest one.
Yeah, things like, Veriform was in groundbreaking, but we felt it belonged more in the demo competition, because yes, it's absolutely a groundbreaking demo, but it's absolutely one of the demos that people remember from Assembly, and it really was the demo of 2003. There were other demos that year, but for a while everything was Veriform.
Are we going to watch some clips of the something or?
Yeah, I think we could do that. We could actually watch a little clip of Veriffarm while we're talking about it.
I think.
Because Keulers was also nominated in the demo group category. I can't remember what it was called. It was best group or
Most
impactful
yeah,
group.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when we are talking about best, I have to add, I have to say that this is kind of very, like we had to cut it so small that personally some of my favorites were cut down from the demo, and I was like kind of crying blood there, but that's what
we
happens.
also had, as I said in the voting, I would have put Fairlight separate from CNCD because CNCD has had productions that were in the early days that were separate from Fairlight.
And that's actually something that was discussed on the, more on the form than live, but yeah. I kind of agree with you, yeah.
For those of you that are following this, we really did do a lot of work. We had several meetings during June, and some of the lists, actually, we're saying...
We have so many Excel kind of lists with the pointing systems.
Yes.
Everyone on the jury was leading one of the categories, and they could decide the pointing system, so it differed a little bit. So we have, for obvious reasons, the groundbreaking was a little bit different than some others, but mainly everyone gives the points from 0 to 6 and or 5 or 3 or
Well, Flopine, even though you said that ours was the most difficult, I think Flopine may have had really the most difficult. Well, also, Alexei.
And then again, how huge are the audio and graphics?
Yeah, that's what I was saying about Flopine's graphic thing. I mean, she went through everything.
I think she did most work. Florine with the graphic did incredible amount of work.
She went through all the old school entries from all the years, looked at them, put them in the list. She went through all of the fast graphic things, put some of those in the list. All of the modern graphics, all of the different types of, because over 30 years.
And we had some extras even, which we kind of included there. I can't remember what was that.
I don't remember what it was either, but the thing was that over the 30 years, some of these categories have actually changed. The music category, at one point we had tracked music, and then it became streaming music. And tracked music kind of, it still exists, but it is less of a, it's less, I suppose you could say, potent than it was. But Flopine put together a list, and it was comprehensive. And it was very long, but it was comprehensive, and you couldn't whittle it down further, because if you did, you'd be leaving stuff out. So all of us then went through, and we had various different ways of going through all of these productions, all of the pictures, and okay, yes, no, yes, now I have to reroute, and that was a lot of work, but she made it easy by putting it all together. And the same thing with Eben. He had made his list early and got it out there, which I think is astounding that he was able to pull that off. It was basically in 24 hours he had put it together. And then he had links for all of these, and
I kind of fell in love with Alexei when he was so fast, did it so comprehensively and so well, and that kind of shows example for others in the jury as well. So he made my work so much more easy, actually.
Yeah, when he put his out, it gave me, I say me, but also Satu. I mean, we talked about how we would do it, and because he'd give us an example, it was like,
Yeah, we can work with this and do it a little bit different, but kind of similar. Yeah.
And if you the other thing was when you put together the lists, if somebody else came along with, I really think this also fits, which in our case was that needed to happen because I had somehow or other forgotten Zoom 3, and somehow also All Fall Down from Fairlight. These didn't show in the list, and absolutely impactful. Again, All Fall Down, when that hit, everybody was talking about it and the particles, and I don't know how it escaped my mind. Probably because of the fact that...
One of my favorites, and I think it's very awesome that the guys actually kind of referred to that on the video.
Yes. Yes, the acceptance video from, well, okay, it was Smash talking, but I have a distinct feeling that other members of the group that has put things together had significant, they made that into something else. And that was I really liked all the acceptance speeches that took place. And I'm very appreciative of the way that Abbas, when he was accepting for the demo award, he acknowledged that all of the others were very important also. And this is where the term winner, with one of the issues that I have when we're using the term winner is that the land where I came from has a completely different concept of that. And often they will say that if you didn't win, then you lost. And that is absolutely not the case here.
Absolutely not. This was like audience's favorite.
Yes.
in this incredible kind of we also didn't see all of the amazing pieces which we kind of could have had there if we had a little bit longer time or a lot of longer time.
Yeah.
So I think even if you didn't get to the screen, that doesn't mean you lost or you would be good.
Not.
Because, yeah.
Well, I talked to Maxon outside, and he said it was just a great honor. And really, that is the thing. We're honoring all of the productions, and I think we're going to release all of the lists also at some point that put this together. Although someone did ask if we're going to publish the voting results also, and I have no idea. I haven't seen them, but we do need to talk about how we
have
afterwards.
published the list of the nominees.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if we kind of should publish
I don't know if we should
everything
either.
because it's more like there are different kind of systems, but if anyone has any questions, I can
hit us up.
But I don't know if it really brings a lot to publish all of them. But if someone has could you tell about this piece, how many points it got or something like that compared to others, that's totally okay. And you can send email or message me in IRC or like.
We probably should,
I don't know.
Yeah, there are so many ways we could follow this up, and we will. We will follow it up in some way, because it's not just we didn't just have the celebration and that's the end of it. This is a celebration, and we'll put things forward, and we will make things available to folks so that they can see them. But we also should mention one of the things leading up to this was the show that we did. And we went to the Assembly Studios, and we had a preview show that we put together, and we showed all of the productions in that, and played all of the music.
Yeah.
And I believe that's available.
Yeah, that's available at YouTube, and you can find the link from the award site. So
is it still archived on Twitch, do you know? Because I originally watched it at home on Twitch.
Yeah. You could originally watch it from Twitch, but now it's not there anymore.
Okay, it's not been archived.
At YouTube. So
all right, good.
Yeah, there's a YouTube link for that.
I thoroughly recommend folks going and getting that show. Among other things, you can actually see all of the people. Well, okay. Pehu had a complication, but all the rest of us were there, either virtually or physically in the studio. And again, you can see all of the productions.
Yeah.
We will also show a lot of the productions in the demo show on Saturday. We won't show all of them because, well, we only have an hour and a half for the demo show, and all of the productions, we're not going to play the music because that would also add to it. We'd be at like 4 hours, if easily, with all the things.
Absolutely, yeah. One thing, this is kind of late comment, but one thing I was thinking when we were kind of designing this groundbreaking category was that maybe something from some competitions that are not here anymore might end up there. For example, we have had this Flash demo competition long time ago. Now you don't even have Flash supported anymore, but still there are so many different kind of categories over the years to go through and think. And I think, one of the most important things for me with this award was also to go to the archive, check what's there, and kind of reminisce everything, and go through and maybe tell people to go through some of the old productions.
I would hope that some folks would do that. I mean, archive.assembly.org has been there for a long time, maybe not 30 years, but it's been there at least 20. And video captures are there, the actual productions are there, and perhaps some of the photos are there also from various parties. And you can go through and relive this, and if you didn't live through it, then you can actually see what built this whole thing that we have here now.
And when they are not there, you can always use Poet. That's actually, I have to admit,
or demos.
I did that in few, just search with Assembly if you want to go through only the award kind of.
We do have to give a shout out to both Poet, which I call the Blue Demo Hating website for reasons, but it was a great resource, and so was Demos.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the curation that people have done on both of those sites, it was much easier to.
Marvelous job that people are doing there.
Like when I made the mistakes there was one particular demo that I was absolutely sure was released here, but no, it was released at the Gathering. And because I was able to check that on both of the sites, this no longer is in the list because it does not qualify. That was an incredibly important part of our process. We should probably talk about some of the other categories. We talked a little bit about the graphics category.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about the games, did we?
We didn't talk about the games. Okay. We should talk about those.
The game category at the awards. Did you see the nominees we had? Because
I saw the list, and there was a.
Did you already guess that it would be Porrasturvat that would?
Well, I think it's the biggest meme we have had in the game dev combo, so I guess it's everyone's favorite.
I think that was kind of only category where it was relatively easy to say that if you think about the game dev combo at Assembly, what comes to your mind, which pieces do you remember? First thing is Porrasturvat for many, so that's why it was kind of something you could guess already. For everything else, actually even the points were very, there weren't really huge gaps at the, let's say, week before the voting ended. So
we should also mention that we had both, that at one point, both Porrasturvat and is it Rekkaturvat? I can't remember what is truck dismount in Finnish.
Rekkaturvat.
Rekkaturvat. Both of them were up, but we took we took the more popular one because,
Yeah.
well,
And that's what we did with everything else as well.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't like include 2 demos from the same group,
Yeah.
for example, or things like that, because we wanted to, yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the few games that wasn't just played on Assembly or people who know Assembly, but I think a certain generation in Finland basically knows that game.
Yeah, it might be pretty like Finland concentrated, but
Probably.
anyway, yeah.
No, it had impact at least in the areas where I was living at the time, because
Cool.
that was released in 2003. Yes, and I was in England at the time, and people were talking about it there. Maybe it didn't get any press, but people were talking about it and downloading it as well.
Yeah.
I know that. I mean, Archie's Tricky Truck had impact as well, but not at the level. But I mean, people were playing that a lot when that actually took place that year. I still remember interviewing the guys that did the Assembly Simulator. And I guess that, to me, that has 2 reactions that I've read. The first reaction from people tended to be, oh, this was incredibly lame because it was just, you're just doing assembly. But the people that hadn't been to assembly liked it a lot because it told them a lot more about what was actually taking place here.
Okay, cool.
So that had, I think, more impact outside than perhaps inside, which is a very interesting
perspective, which I totally understand. So yeah, that's cool.
What were the other ones that were also? We had the shooter.
Like yeah.
Actually, I had several shooters. We had the vertical shooter, and we had the airplane tank thing.
Yeah.
Which.
Some like more beautiful.
Yeah, that was more of a 3-dimensional shooter. And I know I've left one out.
It's 11:30 after so many work days.
Yeah. We're going to skip the one because we're tired and we've had a lot of things. It's not because it isn't deserving of somebody going back and downloading it and playing it. You really, if you haven't played these games, go and test all of them out.
Yeah.
Okay. And we prepared a whole bunch of clips, and we haven't talked about any of them. So perhaps we should actually show some of the clips that we did as we're talking about some of the demos and so forth. We already mentioned Veriform. We should probably mention Conspiracy's Chaos Theory.
Yeah.
Which you could show a clip of that,
Maybe
I think.
We can go with Chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's Veriform.
Okay.
But that's cool because I mean Veriform was just in 2000. It was released in 2002, but I remember at Breakpoint 2003, everyone was jumping around on stage dancing to this music, and there is if you like this music, there is on Bandcamp, Little Bitchard has a collection of many remixes that different sceners have done. Suntesi, Frequent, Wonder. If you like metal, you need to listen to Wonder's copy or Wonder's version. My favorite is Pinza's Horny House mix on that. It's all horns. It's just that album is something to grab. Chaos Theory is such a impactful 64K that somebody made a 4K version of it. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's very close. It isn't exact because, I mean, you have to lose some detail when you go from 64K down to 4K. But yeah, there's a 4K version of this.
Okay, I have to look that up. Yeah, that's cool.
And the music in this is iconic. I'm sorry, guys. I did not record it with only the left channel.
Well, it was, yeah.
That was when
you can see it at the Assembly archive.
Yeah. If you didn't see it at Assembly, you don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll just explain. When it was shown, originally it was shown with the music only out the left channel. And the entire demo scene section at Hartwell Arena was screaming for them to restart the thing and play it correctly. It was huge. And then a year later, there was another glitch with the audio, and there was a joke then with the conspiracy guys that every time they came to Assembly, they broke the audio system. I am surprised that they let me put Saint into I'm thrilled that I was able to get that in there, because Saint was not shown at Assembly. It was disqualified.
Oh yeah. That's one of my I'm really happy that we had something that's not even qualified for.
Because I mean, this demo there are so many sceners that just love this demo.
But do you have any idea why this was disqualified? Because
Yes.
I don't really understand.
I was told that this was disqualified because it looked too much like a music video.
What?
Exactly. How many people try to make a production that is a music video or with their own music, and then, okay, you're going to penalize them for succeeding?
Kind of weird this reason to disqualify something, but at the same time, to have something that's disqualified at the first place at the awards is one of the richness, I think.
And that's another thing, is if you get disqualified at a party, or if you, I mean, there are multiple, or Veriform came in second place, Mopi came in second place every time. Did they ever come in first place? I think they always came in second place. Being at the top of the list does not necessarily mean that you don't have impact.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the chicken.
Let's talk about
The chicken in IX, because the Mopi production.
Oh yeah. Okay, thanks.
The chicken is iconic. That's a great demo. You were telling me that that's one of your favorites. The Mopi one.
chicken.
Yes, the Mopi IX one. With the trams and the old guys and the
Someone
giraffes
else
and the
told
chickens.
you that, but I do like Mopi's
Okay.
stuff a lot because
Right.
it's fun and it's very different
Yeah.
than everything else. So yeah, totally.
Well, I mean, Abbas was saying that, when he was watching, he was like, what is this crazy thing that's going on?
Yeah,
this
and
is...
it's fun, but
Yes. And it's also a different rendering method all the time. It's there's a style to this one that we don't necessarily see anymore. And Mopi had that. They were very impactful with that. And that again is another one that ended up in another category. I want to talk about Darkroom for a second. That was the blue Amiga thing.
do you think we are at the overtime already?
I was told I can go as long as I want. Which is a mistake, people. But I do want to talk about Darkroom for a second.
Yeah, let's do.
Because Darkroom came in like 7th. And Micron has told me that the reason why Darkroom was placed so low was probably because all the demos were shown in a very dark room. And as you see, it's blue on black, and it's difficult to see in a dark room. So a lot of people didn't see it. And then even I've shown this a couple times, and sometimes people are just like, "Why? How did I miss this demo? What is that? Plus, it's not a demo; it's 40K." And when the Blitter Tornado in that hit, everybody needed to know how to do that, how to make that effect. And Dweezil explained it to me once, and it is so incredibly simple and just really brilliant. It's a fantastic production and absolutely deserved to be in the groundbreaking, but it ended up getting moved to restricted because, again, it was a restricted, it's a 40K.
Yeah.
All right. Did you want to bring up any others, or do you think we should shut it down?
I think we're over time, but I
Well,
don't know. I
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about more of these things. Again, we're going to show them, a lot of them, on Saturday. There will be a demo show after the Shader Showdown. Well, not the final. I think it's somewhere between the things. But yeah, we could wrap it up for today. There's more tomorrow. Music combos are tomorrow. I think there's some other competitions tomorrow, maybe some intro stuff. I don't really know because I haven't looked at it, because apparently today was a day to go on stage, which took a lot of our time. And then Saturday, there are demos. For those of you that are in the hall, there are, behind us, there's the fighting game stuff. You should come by and check that out, because fighting games are awesome. There is noise over here, which is somebody shooting. I'm not sure which that is. I know there's a Valorant competition that's going on at some point. Maybe that's what that is.
Someone's playing arcade there, and
yeah, there's the arcade here. There's an 8-bit display. If you've never seen an Amstrad CPC, they have 2 of them. I'm astounded that they have 2 Amstrad CPCs here, because I've never seen them in Finland. I didn't even think anybody had them. But yeah, there are 2 of them here. And I'm hoping at some point that I can try and convince them to run one of the great CPC demos that have come out in the past couple of years. The problem is I don't know how I'm going to get it to them. But yeah, many things coming up in the next couple of days. It's been a great day. I hope you've enjoyed our wrap-up and our ramblings about what we've been doing for a couple months. And I hope you enjoyed those things, and I hope that everyone that was honored in it understands that we really do appreciate that you have gave us something that means something to us. And those of you that were not necessarily honored in that, you were in a list. I guarantee you your production was in a list.
and if we had something like this in every 10 years or 5 years or something like that, yeah, you would have been there. Yeah.
So we're going to take it and we're going to close it down for today. We will see you again tomorrow. I wish I remembered when the next competition is, but that would require me having a list in front of me, and I didn't prepare that today. I'll prepare it for tomorrow. So good night from Assembly, and we will... Yes.
Thanks for being here. See you.
Good night. Hyvää yötä.